Hey everyone, my name's Robin and I wanted to work you through a body weight conditioning class. This is a circuit style class, so we'll start with a priming to prime our muscles, prime the joints for the movements. Then I'll be working us through 3 closed hip conditioning to work our ability to maintain strong legs as we go in this forward and back motion. And then also working the core. Tricked you with the arms. Okay, so core and closed hip conditioning class. Let's go ahead and get started at the back of your mat. And you can start in a child's pose. So sitting on the knees, we'll walk those hands forward. And let's start here. Bringing the forehead to the mat. Let's take a few breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth. And as we're here, perhaps even coming into mind, bringing to mind something that you're working through or with today. Perhaps it's a challenging thought, a challenging situation, a challenging relationship. So let's bring that challenge to mind. And notice where in your body does that challenge live. So common places are in the belly, in the heart space, in the throat. And we'll just notice, what do we feel in those areas when you bring this challenge to mind? As we move through this priming phase, just begin to feel in your body what sensations are brought up as you think about that challenge in your life. All right, from here, let's rise on up to hands and knees. Let's make sure that the wrists are underneath the shoulders, hips are underneath the knees. And we'll start here by priming the core. So the spinal balance. From here, let's reach the left heel on out behind us. Engage the belly button towards the spine as you reach the right arm on out as well. Someone's pulling you out in both directions. Let's breathe here. As we breathe out, we'll place the hand and knee onto the floor. Let's switch sides. Inhaling as we reach. Exhaling as we lower. We'll continue like this, back and forth. The purpose of this is just to begin to prime the core activation along with the spine. Nice. We're moving nice and careful, trying to plant the hand and the knee on the floor at the same time. Using the breath. Nice. All right, from here, let's push the floor away from us, reaching the heels, the hips to the heels. As you're ready, on your next exhale, let's step forward with the right foot, reaching towards the sky. As you exhale, shifting the hips forward, let's slide the elbows towards the hips. We'll go back and forth, reaching up, sliding down. We'll do that 4 more times. We're priming this lunging pattern so that our body, our nervous system is prepared for lunges as we work into our conditioning circuit. Let's reach the hands towards the floor, sliding that foot on back, switching sides, reaching tall. Keep using your breath, tapping into where in your body do you feel that challenge in your life, or that thought that you're thinking that you're trying to transform. Last time here. And as you're ready, we'll plant the hands to the floor. Excellent. All right, to prepare, let's push the hips on back. We're gonna step forward with our right foot on the outside of our right hand. So this is preparing for a movement we'll do pretty soon. Let's squeeze the knee into the arm. Reaching out through the top of the head, engage the back leg glute. You should feel pretty firm here. No worries if your foot's over here. Eventually, we're trying to get it to have toes in line with hands. And that's where we're moving towards. From here, let's push ourselves on back, and then we'll switch sides. Toes in line with hand, engaging in the back glute, and squeezing the knee against the arm. Let's hold here. So this is our very first movement we'll be conditioning, is this child's pose to outer lunge. So let's rise on up to hands and knees really quickly. One thing we'll be working here is our lats. And so the ability to activate our lats will become important as you're trying to find more power in movement. So let's activate the lats by spreading the fingers wide, screwing the hands into the ground so that the inside of your elbow points forward, and then pulling the floor gently towards you. You should feel those lats turn on. As you're here, let's push on back. As you exhale, with lots of force, let's step forward with the right foot. Like you're trying to bust your head through a wall in front of you. Then we'll push ourselves on back, other side. Again, pulling with the lats as you pull forward. The other two muscle groups we're working here are the core and the glutes. So as we're in this low lunge, we're engaging in the back leg glute. The core automatically needs to turn on in order to achieve the pulling forward motion. Lastly, as we move, let's utilize a power breath. So it's out through the mouth, shh, like you're saying shh, but with your belly, nice and forceful. So we'll inhale, exhale, step forward with the right, shh, trying to plant that foot in line with the fingers, switching sides. We'll go back and forth a few times through. Awesome. From here, let's tuck those toes, pushing the hips on back, finding a downward facing dog for a moment. And then we'll lift the heels, bending in the knees, and making our way to the front of the mat. Let's rise halfway up as we lift, exhaling as we forward fold, inhaling as we reach all the way tall. Awesome. So we just learned child's pose to outer lunge. That will be one of our conditioning circuits. The first one that we'll do though in the circuit is a squatting position. So squats, simple movement, but activating so many important muscle groups to achieve greater stability in walking, in running, and dancing, really in all things. So we'll take the hips, feet in line with hips. As we sit down, like you're gonna sit in a chair, you should feel your weight rooted into the heels, and then like you're having a blast off into the sky, we'll stand tall. Again, sitting down. As you inhale, as you push the heels into the ground, engage those glutes, standing tall. One thing to avoid is pushing the hips forward, trying to keep them level right over the ankles. So let's try a few. You can reach your arms in front, and then exhale, back. The elbows can be to the sides. Let's try it again. So we're trying to stand tall, like we're hitting our head on top of the ceiling, avoiding thrusting the hips forward, but keeping the hips stacked right over the heels. Yeah? Awesome. All right. Next one we'll do is those child's pose to outer lunges, which we already did. So let's skip that. Third one, we'll be utilizing our forward lunge, athletic lunges. So we're not doing a yoga lunge like so, where the back leg is straight. We're actually stepping and bending in the back knee. So the initiation comes from bending the back knee first, the front leg will catch you. And then we'll step back to place. Again, stepping forward, back knee bends, planting that foot back on down. We're utilizing our breath. And one thing to note is try to avoid leaning forward. You should feel most of your weight equal in front and back foot. We're reaching the head towards the sky. Let's switch sides. If this is painful on your knees, you feel like you need to adjust, we can just come here, legs apart. We're bending in the back knee, straightening, bending, straightening, engaging in the back glute. Finding endurance and power in that movement. All right, so that's our third movement, is those lunges. Fourth movement is for our obliques, those side body of our core. So we'll come here onto our side, laying onto the side body. Our hip is in line with our elbow, fist pointed straight, knees are bent like we're sitting in a squat. From here, pull the elbow towards your hip without actually sliding your elbow, just pulling it so that your lat turns on. With this other hand, place it on your shoulder and then pull down, other lat should engage. From here, we'll squeeze the glutes as we lift the hips. And then set them back down. Again, we'll exhale, squeeze the glutes, the hips should shift forward. And then as you sit them down, we sit them back, rather than plopping them down to create this arch in the spine. Again. Using that strong breath. Awesome. Let's try a few on the other side. So in our circuit round, we'll be doing 30 seconds on each side, so a full minute of each exercise. Working to strengthen both the core and those closed hips. Awesome. All right. For our final movement, we'll be utilizing lateral lunges. So hips are still faced forward. This time the legs are apart. Toes are also faced forward. You can start by placing the hands on the hips. We'll just be bending one knee, sitting into that heel, coming back to center, and then switching sides. Yes. If this feels like not quite the challenge you're looking for, you can step on out. So as you step, land on that bent leg, step back to center, switching sides. We're trying to land the weight into the heel. Awesome. All right, so those are the movements that we'll be circuiting. Let's get into it. We'll do 1 minute per exercise, all right? In between rounds, we'll be taking a deep breath in through the nose, holding our breath, and then exhaling, shaking it on out, releasing muscle tension, trying to shift ourselves, lower our heart rate, shifting ourselves back into our parasympathetic nervous system. So now's our time to think about that challenging situation that you're working yourself through, and we'll aim to transform it. We'll transform it through the movements that we do, trying to find an empowered statement. So if you're saying to yourself, I'm not good enough, what's a statement that can counteract that in your brain and body? So I'm not good enough. What about I am worthy of goodness in my life? Something like this. Find something that resonates with you. All right, so you got those movements now. Again, I will repeat them quickly. The video will be done and then you're on your own. Set a timer for 60 seconds. Repeat that exercise. Take a 30-second shake out break in between each exercise where we're lowering the heart rate, breathing deeply, exhaling as we release, and then you'll do the next exercise. Try to aim for doing this 2 times through. You got this. So let's do a quick memory reset for the exercises. You can write them down so that when it's time to really go through the workout, you know what to do. First one we'll be doing is those squats. Yes, we're driving through the heels like you're sitting in a chair, and then you say nope, and we're activating the energy in this closed hip condition. Then we'll come down into our child's pose. Child's pose to outer lunges. You're pulling yourself forward, stamping that foot right next to your hand, and then pushing on back. Third exercise, we have those front tactile lunges, squeezing the elbows into the ribs. We're stepping forward, stepping back. You can alternate legs, or you can just do these more static variations. Third exercise is our oblique lifters in this side plank, elbow in line with hip. We're squeezing the glutes, shifting the hips forward, then squeezing them back. And the last exercise is those lateral lunges, back and forth. I will leave it from there. I'll leave you to it. I encourage you to go through this at least 2 times through. 60 seconds of work, 30 seconds of rest, and go ahead and give yourself a 5-minute cool down to breathe deep, stretch out those muscles, and return to equilibrium. I hope that this little tutorial of an example of body weight conditioning worked for you. Let me know how it goes.